Hey guys, today on the podcast we have Miss Sharon Bechtold here. You know, if I told you, imagine 6 flips, 8 rental properties, and 9 loans in the past 3.5 years. I mean, that would be super successful by any standards. But yet, you know, sometimes it's not the results, it's kind of the journey. And that's what we're going to talk about because things were always not the way they look today. So Sharon, welcome.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Sharon, let's kind of go back really quick, and because a lot of times people will look at you today, right, that you're successful. Where did the journey start?
Well, it actually started many years ago, and I started taking classes with Rich Dad, and I took classes with Joe McCall. I took a lot of different classes to learn how to invest in real estate.
And was that just in real estate or all sorts of things?
Mainly in real estate.
Okay.
I've taken other classes and other things, but yeah, mainly in real estate.
Okay, so you've had an interest in real estate for a fairly long time.
Yeah.
Would it be like 10 years, 12 years at least?
I would say probably 20 years.
20 years,
Yeah.
okay. So you've been wanting to do something in real estate,
Yep.
right? And then you show up around us, right?
Yes.
And you were actually a part of Mastery, but you show up around us, when was that?
I showed up in 2017 around, probably it came in March, and then I came to the 3-day, I think it was in April.
Okay.
And joined you guys in May.
Okay, got it. So you show up to the 3-day, right? And was your husband there with you also?
No.
No, it was just you.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this: what does your husband do?
He works for DuPage County.
Okay. So he works for one of the counties around Chicagoland,
Yeah.
right? Is his job pretty easy working for the county, or is it a stressful type of job?
Yeah, it's really stressful.
Really stressful. Okay, so it's not like he's just chilling back and then. Okay, got it. So it's a lot of headaches, a lot of kind of
Yes.
roadways and things he takes care of,
Yes.
right? Okay, so he's kind of the manager position, but
Yep.
all the headaches come to him.
Yep.
So what was the reason for he has a pretty decent job, right? Wanting to invest in real estate for you.
Well, first of all, it was something we wanted to do for a really long time. Something we both
he was
were
on
interested
board.
in. Well, he was on board until I joined all these courses.
Okay, and didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, well, we actually made offers and we were trying, but nothing ever seemed to come together for us.
Got it.
But probably one of the biggest things and one of the biggest motivators to actually start buying was the fact that the stress was a lot for him. And I wanted to give him an option. I wanted to say, hey, you know, it's always easier to deal with stress when you know you have a choice as opposed to feeling like you don't have a choice. And I wanted him to have that choice. And it's something that I'd wanted to do for a long time.
Okay, so basically you came to real estate because you're like, hopefully at some point your husband could, if you choose to, right, he would have another option,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so he was that desperate.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So let's talk about this. So this is 2017, right?
Right.
About 3.5 years ago, literally. And at that time, why was you show up in Mastery, right?
Right.
And we're pretty kind of Kool-Aid people, which is we want people to succeed, right? We don't want you to do 10 different things, especially someone like you. You have all this energy and all these ideas, right? So at that time, what happened on your first couple transactions? Because I know they were tough transactions.
Wow. I don't think we really realized how much work it was going to be.
Okay.
We had purchased a property right before I joined you, and I know that was
Right.
kind of my crazy story where I
Sure.
traded my motor home for 2 properties in New York, which
Right.
is totally out of state.
Right.
And so we thought, hey, you know, we got this, you know, we can do this. And we hopped into our first property, which turned out to be a little bit more work, or I should say a lot more work than we had anticipated.
That was a 2-flat. Mm-hmm. Not
Yeah.
the easiest town to work with, not the easiest, you're right, one of the
And we
suburbs
had
of Chicago.
tenants, and we had
you had
tenants.
tenants to deal with.
Existing tenants,
right?
yes.
And I have to point this out, right? Because a lot of times, you know, guys, it's very easy when you look back, but when you're going through it, and Ms. Sharon went through this, and that's why I wanted her to come and share that, because in all honesty, she actually went through a lot of the difficult things. About 95% of the property you got done.
Yes.
And then you're like, Andrew, I'm done. I am and you're exhausted mentally more than anything.
Yes,
right?
I was.
So at that point, I tried to convince Ms. Sharon, like, Ms. Sharon, you're almost to the finish line. You're almost there, right? You can't give it up now. She's like, Andrew, I'm just done, right?
Yeah.
You got to get me out. I am done, right?
Yeah, I was ready to walk away.
Right. And I'm like, you can't do that, right? You cannot do that. I know you feel you've been through a spin cycle and then some, but you can't do that. The property will work. So we ended up having somebody else take the property, and she ended up making a loan on it, right? She already owned the property. And guys, the reason I'm bringing this up, like a lot of times people look at it as negative. It's not. It's just understand we all have gone through things where you're just like, my God, I've had it. I just can't handle it anymore, right? And I'm like, Ms. Sharon, this will work. Now, happens to be that the person who took it over was a contractor. He finished the property every single month, and this is no joke. Every single month, at the end of the month, he makes about $800 a month, net profit after expenses, after everything, and he has nothing invested in the property. Now, looking back at it, do you see that as a failure, or do you see that as a success?
I see that as a total learning opportunity.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up.
Because it wasn't a failure. It taught me what I was capable of doing. And it also really, I guess one of the big things was I realized I could trust you guys. I mean, not that I'm going to come and cry to you every time I have an issue,
right.
But I'm like, okay, I've found a group of people that, you know, the support's going to be here. And you guys really made me, you know, you held my feet to the fire. You're like, you can do this. And it wasn't that I wasn't getting the encouragement. Because I remember sitting down with Todd, and Todd's like, Sharon, you can do this.
Right.
I really felt I was in over my head.
Right. And it's okay, right? Sometimes it's not, guys, this is a marathon, right? Truly, if you want to be a successful real estate investor, it's a marathon. It's not just that, oh my God, today, even if you do your first property, you hit a home run. Trust me, you're going to need lots and lots of those to really be successful over time, right? And that's what the whole message was. Yet, if you look at it from the other side of it, she did a loan on it. She learned how to, and you lent money out of your IRA, I believe, right? And you're getting a 2 points, 12%, great interest rate.
Right.
So it was a success on that end, right? So it depends on, do you look at it as a learning lesson? And there was another property, if you remember, right? At the time, I was giving you, there was a property in the same town that was a phenomenal flip. It was a phenomenal flip. And this was a property we sent you, right? Platinum Mastery, remember?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, Ms. Sharon, this is a really, really good deal, right? $60,000. You know, and like, guys, listen, in hindsight, everything is easy.
Yeah.
Right? In hindsight, we all know perfectly what we should do. But when you're in it, it's not quite that easy. Sharon ended up letting go of that property. We kept it, we did a flip on it, and we made $40,000 or $50,000, right? I just didn't have the heart to call Miss Sharon, I told you so, because sometimes we've all been down, right? And last thing you need is somebody telling you, oh, I told you so. But, so the first one, learning lesson, loan part of it worked out. The second one, you decided, okay, no, I'm not going to do it because of the same, it all came at the same time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, from there, you're like, okay, I'm going to pick up the pieces and I'm going to go to my third property, right? Was that a super home run?
Oh, gosh, no.
Okay. What happened?
I put in an offer. I put in way more earnest money than I really should have. And we just had problems with the seller. The seller was promising that they had done some of the I didn't want to deal with the village. So I'm like, okay, this house has to pass inspection. And that was the requirement. And it never did. And so we said, okay, we're canceling the deal. Well, their attorney would not return the money. And I asked you about this, and Andrew told me, Miss Sharon, just negotiate with them, give them part of it, and walk away. And I'm like, but this is wrong. This is wrong. They can't do this. They shouldn't do this. I was upset. And you kept telling me, it's going to cost you more. I didn't listen.
No, I want to point this out, that in all fairness to you, right, it was 100% unethical. That
it was.
Right?
It was 100%
absolutely unethical on the seller's part, 100% unethical on the attorney's part. Right?
Yes,
and
yes, it was.
As much as all of the times I'd like to say to everybody, you know, guys, you do, and you did everything correctly. You did everything by the book, yet it didn't work out, right? So when everything got wrapped up in the end, right, you walked away with what sort of a loss?
I didn't. I walked away with $300. I won the lawsuit, and my attorney got the rest.
Okay, got it. So
It did not make me feel any better.
Right. Okay. So, but I mean, forget
Lesson
about
learned.
That's another lesson.
Lesson
learned,
learned.
Right? And I bring that up because a lot of times, that would dishearten most people. That would dishearten most people, and they would quit. They're like, Andrew, this doesn't work. Doesn't matter what you say, what other people in mastery have accomplished. This really doesn't work. But I mean, kudos to you and your husband. You guys stuck with the process, right? You had the 2 properties you had bought in New York.
Yeah.
Right? Those were small. What did you buy those properties for?
It was $25,000 for both of them.
For both of them put
For
together?
both of them, yeah.
So
They were
this is
not in the
clearly-
best neighborhood.
This is not in the best neighborhood.
No.
This is nowhere close to New York City, clearly.
No,
This is
it wasn't.
Syracuse, New York.
No,
No.
it's Rochester.
Rochester, New York.
Yes,
Okay.
not a good area.
Not a good area. Okay. So basically, obviously, clearly not the best part of Rochester, New York. But you still had those 2 properties.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. So what did you do next? Did you go to a flip? Did you do rentals? Or did you start making loans at that point?
I started making loans.
Okay.
Because I figured, okay, I knew you guys were good, and I knew that by that time I knew other people that were in mastery that were doing well. So we decided we could lend.
Okay. So basically, and it's not, I mean, to put this in perspective, a lot of times people think that whenever someone like Miss Sharon, her husband, they're doing loans, it's not like these guys have hundreds of millions of dollars sitting, guys. Just understand. These everyday people, clearly they've been working a good part of their adult lives. So the amount of money that you guys had in your IRA, a couple $100,000, you're basically lending from there so you can keep building your retirement.
Credit.
And
We did.
okay.
Yeah, our HELOC. We
So let's
love our
explain
HELOC.
that. Okay, so let's explain that. How the HELOC. So you basically did kind of a double dip strategy.
Absolutely,
Right?
yeah.
So did you have a loan on your home or did you not?
Yeah, we still have a loan on our home, but we own our home almost. I think we only owe like $50,000
Okay,
on the
so-
house, so we were almost paid off.
Okay, got
but we
it.
had a lot of equity, so we
Got
had
it.
a
So
nice.
you went and tapped that equity.
Absolutely.
Right? And you probably, that rate is how much?
I think it's like 3 or 4%.
Okay, 3 or 4%.
It's really small.
And you're lending at what rate?
12.
12%, right? So you have a nice delta in between,
Oh yeah.
right? And do you charge points when you do any lending or no?
Yeah.
2 points, 12%, right?
Yes.
Same standards. So guys, think about it, right? And those loans are turned at least twice a year. So if you're lending $100,000, right, the cost of borrowing for her on her home equity is 3.5%, somewhere over there. And then you're lending out and you're making 2 points twice, so that's $4,000 plus another 12, right? So that's almost $16,000 or so for the year, and it's costing you $3,000 to do that. I mean, it
Right.
is a home run deal, right?
Oh, yeah.
So total so far, you've done how many loans?
9, I think.
9 loans. Okay, got it. So that's one thing you have it kind of down,
Yeah.
right? You have it that down. So that part of it is working. So what did you do next?
We just kept lending because we were licking our wounds at
Okay.
that point. We wanted to stay in the business, but we just didn't feel we were ready.
Okay,
And we
got
were
it.
looking here, looking there, kind of half-hearted and trying to find something, but we were still really gun shy.
Got it. So I see you have 8 rentals now.
Yes.
Right? And then 6 flips. So did you start with rentals again or flips first?
Rentals. Our goal was always to have the rentals.
Okay.
We were not interested at all in flips.
Okay. Flips kind of happened by accident,
Yep.
part of it, right?
Yep.
So let's walk through one of your rentals, right? So say your first rental that you bought, what did you pay for that property approximately?
35.
$35,000 is all you
Mm-hmm.
paid, okay? And then what did you fix that property for?
We fixed that property probably for about 15 or 20.
15 or 20,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So let's just say maybe somewhere around 18,000, give or take, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're pretty much in this property for somewhere around $52,000 all
Right.
in, right? Purchase plus rehab and everything.
Right.
And then what did that property appraise out at?
We never refinanced that one.
So what do you think it's worth?
Well, at that time, it was probably only worth about 70.
Only
It
70.
was just a little dinky thing.
Okay, so
That's
it's
why
a-
we started. It came from you guys because
Right,
I didn't
okay.
think anybody wanted it.
Okay, got it. So
And we
but
figured we
even at
could
that
afford
time-
to lose it. You know,
Right.
so-
Even at that time, it was worth 70 though. You're in it
Yeah.
for 52, it was worth 70. What does it rent out at?
It rents out at 1150.
1150.
Yeah.
Okay. So small little property.
Yep.
Right? Nothing very fancy at all.
Nope.
Okay. But you got the hang of being able to do that,
Yeah.
right?
That was
Yeah.
a huge boost for us.
Okay, got it. So now you go from that property, where did you go next?
We went
rental
to
or a flip?
We went to a rental.
Okay.
and that one was a 3-bedroom rental.
Okay.
We paid, I believe, $80 for
Okay.
that one.
Okay.
I have my notes in here. And that one cost us a little bit more. I want to say about $20.
Okay. So all in for 100.
Yeah.
What do you think that property's worth?
Well, that one appraised out at, I want to say about 130.
130. Okay. So you have a
Okay.
good 30% equity in the property.
Right.
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 Okay. Good. So
So-
you hit all our standards.
Right,
Right.
right.
So and what is that rented for?
That one right now is rented at $16.75.
1675.
Mm-hmm.
So that that cash flows like no tomorrow.
Right.
Right. What's the cash flow on that one?
Cash flow on that one is $529.
$529. This is after all
Right.
expenses.
After all expenses,
Right.
taxes, everything, CapEx.
And you have nothing stuck in it.
Yeah, we actually have about 10 stuck in
About
it.
time.
Yeah.
You didn't refinance that.
Yes, we did refinance it, but
You
that
just
one
left 10 in there. Okay.
we made some really dumb mistakes when we were rehabbing
So
that.
you're
We didn't
still-
know.
Right.
We put things in that later on we were like, why did we spend money on that?
Okay. So this is still a
But
process of
hey,
learning.
I mean, yeah.
Got it. So when did you come to? How did the flips come about in this whole process?
Okay, well, we were never intending to do any flips.
Okay.
We were like, we love the rentals, we love having the money come in. And we purchased in a town that when we were almost done rehabbing, did a moratorium.
Okay.
And we could not rent.
Okay. So basically, it depends on what part of the country you're investing in, right? If you're in southern, a lot of the southern states, a lot more friendly markets, right? I mean, we're just in Florida, in Houston, it's a lot easier, guys, believe me, to do all this stuff, right? Yet, if you look at suburbs of Chicago, they're not known for being friendly in terms of, certainly the housing authorities are not friendly in any way. I'm going to talk about the villages, we call them villages here, and they're not friendly at all, right? They're a nightmare. All the codes are very, very difficult, right? And everything is 10 times more difficult. That's just kind of way of doing business
Yeah.
here. So in one village, right, they basically said, no, you can't do any rentals anymore. That's it, period, right? It's a 6-month moratorium on it, and that's what she's talking about. So
Yep.
you can't get a rental license. You need a rental license in a lot of these villages. So you can't rent out the property if you don't have a rental license, right? It's that simple. And so that property, you decided to flip it.
Well, we had no choice.
You had no choice, okay. got it.
But I will say that we used the calculator.
Okay.
Okay. And we never buy a property that we don't have more than one exit strategy out of.
Okay, this is important, so explain that.
Okay. So we bought it as a rental. So we knew the numbers. It fit the numbers and it fit your
Sure.
numbers. But we also wanted to make sure that if for any reason, my husband and I are just like really conservative.
Right.
If for any reason we had to flip it, that there would at least our thing is we don't want to lose money.
Right.
If anything else, we won't lose money.
Right.
So we knew that if we had to liquidate it, we could liquidate it and sell it like this. And if we had to flip it, at least there was enough cushion there for us to pay the realtor and all the other fees.
Got it. So did you make money on that one?
Oh my gosh, yeah, because the values went up.
Okay.
It was unbelievable. Yeah,
Okay.
we made, let's see, about 40 on that one.
About 40 on that one.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was nice.
So now you make $40,000, right? So with the 40, did you decide, okay, well, I'm going to do more flips, or I'm going to do more rentals? Did any thought process change?
We paid off another property.
Okay, so you paid off
Yeah.
another property.
Yeah.
Got it. So you took the $40,000 instead of blowing it on something or doing anything else. You paid off another property.
Right.
Okay. Good thing. So you're kind of that conservative philosophy
Yeah.
of I'm going to play it safe, right? And then how have the other flips come around?
Well, it was after we did this flip that other properties came out. And again, we always follow the process. We do our numbers. Every property we buy has to be a good rental, has to be a good flip, and we have to be able to, once we put everything in, if we have to get out of it, we have to be able to at least cash out of it and walk out without
got it,
loss.
got it.
So anything we buy has that.
And do you always use the like the we'll talk about the mastery calculator, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you always run your numbers through
Always.
there? Always. Okay,
Always.
got it.
Always,
so you're kind of
always.
looking at both strategies, seeing that it's a good conservative property. Even
Right.
if something goes wrong, I
Yeah.
can get out of it.
Exactly.
Okay, got
Exactly.
it. Perfect. So on the 6 flips, how many of them have you already closed?
Let's see. We have closed 1, 2, three of them.
3 of them you've already closed.
Yeah, 3 are closed. 1 is under contract.
Okay.
And 2 of them we're still rehabbing.
Okay, got it. So basically, on the first one you made 40, and then the rest, the one that is not closed, what do you expect to make?
That one I should make about 35.
35.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And the other 2?
The other 2, 38 on one, and probably 28 on the other one.
Okay, so you've done consistently very good numbers. And mind you, these are small properties,
Yeah.
right? These are small. I mean, we're talking about what, $150,000, $180,000 price ranges?
No, the sale value is probably between 100 and 150, 165.
Okay, so even less.
Yeah.
Right, even less. Okay.
But when I do my numbers, these aren't the numbers. These are actual numbers now that I have my realtor pull.
Right.
But when I do the numbers, I do them very conservatively. So the original numbers when I look at those flips look more like 15 to 20.
Got it. In terms of rehab and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So you're doing, and because a lot of times, Ms. Sharon, the belief is, and I'm glad this lesson got through, that you don't have to do big properties to make very consistent, good amount of money, right? If the goal is to truly build a rental portfolio and have freedom, you don't have to do big fancy stuff, right? I know you like a lot of exciting things, right? You have a lot of energy. Right? How have you stayed away from it? Because, no, I mean, and your husband is the exact opposite. That's why you guys, I think, make such a good team. I mean, we've talked about
There's
it.
plenty of excitement in this business.
Yeah, because Ms. Sharon loves a lot of excitement.
Oh, my
but
gosh.
the way you talk today, the way your philosophy, you're a complete 180-degree change, which is a great change to see, that you've really adopted that whole philosophy of, okay, I'm going to kind of stick to the whole conservative, the very boring side of it. How did you make that mindset change?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's boring.
Okay.
It is very challenging. I'll say that probably the first few properties we finished, when we finished them, the sense of fulfillment was so incredible, because when you do something like this, it's an accomplishment. I mean, I've never mountain climbed, but I can imagine that climbing a mountain, getting to the top of a mountain, I mean, it's a big accomplishment, and it really makes you feel good about yourself. And that's how we feel about these houses. We go in, and they're dumps. They're dirty. I'm still proud of the fact that I cleaned out a refrigerator that had been empty or had been left with food in it for 2 years, and I scooped out maggots out of a refrigerator. And
hold on. I want to warn people, right?
Well, see, I do this.
Right.
Yeah, most people won't do that.
Would never do this.
Okay,
right?
sorry.
Right.
But no, to me, it's like, I could do that. Right. And that was a big deal that I have the nerve to do that.
See, I would have just gotten rid of the refrigerator, right?
Well, the problem was we had to get it upstairs, and you had to take the door off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I had to get those suckers out of there so that we could get it. Anyway, I'll get graphic, and nobody will eat dinner today.
Okay. So, so here's the question, right? You start doing these flips, right? You're doing them on the side as you're accumulating the rentals.
Right.
Now, one thing I wanted to bring up was you got your kids involved, your son at least.
Yes.
Right? So how did that come about?
Well, first of all, it was by force.
Okay.
We made them come and help us clean things out and then paint. And our 18-year-old, we have four sons. Our 18-year-old just has really enjoyed it. He enjoys the challenge. He loves the decorating part. He loves to choose the things. He loves to see things happen. He loves to build them and see. We don't do all the rehab. We do have contractors that do most of it, but we do some of it, and we do the planning, and he absolutely loves it. That's what he wants to do with his life.
Okay. So you think positive change from that end? I mean, forget about the money, forget about all that stuff aside.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right? Because, I mean, you're leading really your kids. You guys are building a family business, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, which is something different than a job that your husband has. So you think that's been a positive thing for your kids?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, our son John is, as of this year, officially 10% owner.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yes. Okay, good. So basically, you're kind of helping him move forward now.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
He's learning how to do the different parts of it. So
good.
We're very proud of him.
So now, the money that you were making here, are you paying off your rentals basically with that money?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not taking any money right now out of the business, although my accountant tells me I'm going to have to.
Right.
We were just paying everything off.
Okay. No, it's a good problem to have, right? Like a lot of times, I mean, people look at it and they're like, oh my God, suddenly now Sharon is successful. No, that's not how it. This is a 3.5 year process, and the first year was not fun. right? It was not fun at all. And a lot of times what happens is people quit, people give up. Oh my God, this doesn't work. It works for everybody else. But one big, huge kudos to you is that you've stuck with the process, right? I mean,
Yeah.
whatever changed this time it happened, right? Because I was like, Miss Sharon, this is going to make me look really bad if you show up in Mastery, because we have a very high success rate, and you're going to kill my averages here, right? You can't be one of the people that kills my averages here within Mastery. But it's so today, looking back, right? Now the New York properties. Before I kind of get into it, what did you do with the New York properties?
We sold them.
Okay, why?
We didn't like dealing with the property manager. I realized that he wasn't catching it when we had one tenant that wasn't paying, and
Right.
I called him and he wasn't even aware that the tenant wasn't paying.
Right, and
And
these
I'm like, what?
properties didn't fit like the type of things we do.
No,
right?
they were definitely not in a great area.
Okay.
But the cash flow was actually very good.
Okay, so you sold those.
Yes.
And did you make money?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So you took that money, and then you're dumping all of that stuff into kind of the rentals, paying off the rentals.
Yes.
Okay. So today you have 8, right?
Right.
So are of these occupied 100%, or are they in the process also?
Well, one, we have a tenant moving in.
Okay. But otherwise, the 8 rentals, what do they perform? How much do you make every single month?
They are performing at about $5,500.
$5,500 net. This is not
Net.
gross income.
Yes, no, that's net.
This is $5,500.
Yeah.
Wow. You realize that's like a good chunk of change, right? About $65,000 for the year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a salary for most people.
Yeah.
Right? So if, I guess the question started, initially you started with the thing that, my goal was to get Joe out of his job, right? Now, Joe obviously has his job, but now he has options.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Could he quit if you wanted to?
Yeah, he could.
Right? But why has he chosen to keep his job?
I guess it's because he doesn't feel he has to be there anymore.
Okay.
He knows that he's got something else. He goes to work because he knows that, it puts us in a better place financially. We can pay these properties off. And his job, and I don't want to say it's gotten easier for him, but I think mentally, knowing that he has that choice has made a big difference.
And that happens, we see that a lot of people that happens to, that when okay, I have an option, if really, 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 it's not working out, it's okay. Because he has the peace of mind that, okay, if it takes 6 months at his level, it's a pretty decent job, right? Probably good benefits and all the other stuff. So that even if he has to sit home 6 months, he can get a job if he chooses to. But the pressure is not there, right?
Right.
That pressure is relieved. And a lot of times, whenever people feel that they have to do something, then it's very different than when you're like, okay, this fits my financial plan.
Right.
Because, so you guys really adopted that belief system, which is we're not going to quit our job. We're going to build it as a family on the side. Once we way exceed it, once we really have a bunch of properties that are paid off, at that time, he can decide what he really wants to do.
Yep.
Right? And that has made sense to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Got it. So what is in it for, I guess, what would you say to people who are like you, right? That go to a bunch of courses, try a bunch of different things. Is there hope?
There's totally hope. And I think the thing that made the difference for us was the fact that we felt that we were in a community of people and we could see other people that were just like us, and they were doing it. And we also had that safety net. I felt it was a safety net.
Right.
That for us, we felt we needed it.
Right.
Although you weren't easy on us.
No, because we have high expectations.
Yes, exactly.
Right? I mean,
and it was like, no, get back out there.
Right.
You can do this. To get back. And
Right.
I do appreciate that, although there were times I was really upset with you.
Right. And no, I mean, I clearly get that. And a lot of times I'm like, Miss Sharon likes to do a lot of creative things, right? Painting and different things. And whenever I would see Miss Sharon's too many posts about what she's doing painting-wise and eagles and all kinds of stuff she's drawing. And she's a beautiful artist. I mean, she's a
That's one of my other businesses, yeah.
She's a legitimate artist. I'm not just like poking fun of her. That's her business. That's her passion. But I'm like, okay, she's just relieving stress, right? And it happens, guys. And that's why I wanted Miss Sharon to come in, because a lot of times, especially within Mastery, the bar has been set so darn high right? I mean, that if you don't have 20, 30, 40 properties, I mean, you don't even show up on the Richter scale. Yet, a lot of times what people need to hear that, hey, listen, it's okay. Go at your own pace. You don't have to necessarily, there's nothing to feel bad about, because today, I mean, you truly have to be proud of what you guys have accomplished. And that this is something you guys have done as a couple and as a family.
Right.
Right?
Right. And that was a big deal, to be able to do this together and to do it as a family. And our oldest son, who's in Texas now, is very interested. So I'm thinking of heading down there at some point in time.
What part of Texas?
They're in the Dallas area.
Oh, Dallas area.
And I've got two beautiful granddaughters. So yeah,
nice,
there's
nice.
definitely a reason to go down.
Okay. So at this point, looking back at it, right? Because now that I look at how far you've come, right? Literally, I mean, if we had met another 3 years ago, right? You realize at this point, you could be easily at 30, 40 properties, right? So what is the goal for you and your husband today?
Right now, we would like to get 10 to 12 properties fully paid off.
Fully paid off,
and continue flipping, because we actually really enjoy the flipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But you know, the beautiful thing about real estate is the fact that no matter what the economy does, there's a strategy for it. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing more flips right now, as opposed to going back to the rentals, because the rentals really are our go-to thing. But right now, you know, things are a little iffy, and we're like, well, you know, if we can make the money with flipping,
Why not
ready.
do it, right?
We'll be ready.
And I think that's one of the best things you could have said, because a lot of times, guys, you know, what people do is they try to force deals to happen. And just because you decided that, okay, you know, it's January of 2020, 21, whatever it is, right? And that I'm going to basically start doing flips. And if the market is not right for that one strategy and you try to force it, a lot of times what people try to do is bend the market to their will and their timing. And every time that you do that, doesn't matter who you are, you're going to take a beating. You have to understand where the market is and then adjust your strategy to fit into that particular market, because that's where you really, really grow, right?
Yep.
So 10 to 12 properties completely paid off.
Yep.
That is very accomplishable. And that's something you can get done within the next 5 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right? I mean, this is not, you realize, I mean, we're talking about $2 or $3 million portfolio, right? At that point. And the kind of income that generates, because that'll generate you somewhere around $7,000, $8,000 a month minimum. And if they're paid off, maybe 10 or 11 a month, right? That's, I mean, pretty damn good. So what do you say to somebody who's looking at this going, oh my God, you know, we're just barely, as we record this, hopefully getting out of COVID, right? Still, we're not out. We're still, vaccine is here, people are getting vaccines, but still, what do you see for them? I mean, is there hope for them today?
Oh, yeah. There's always opportunity.
Okay. And then, are you doing any borrowing?
Yes. Yes, I am doing borrowing. Even though we do have some money, we are borrowing just because we want to establish those relationships with lenders, because you never know. I mean, if all of a sudden, like happened in 2008, you know, all of a sudden all these, you know, these great deals are out there, I want to already have those relationships established.
Okay. So you're borrowing on the private money side as well as on the other side with banks, right?
Yes.
Okay, both sides. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I think, Ms. Sharon, from my end, I mean it from the bottom of my heart, right? Because a bunch of times I've picked on you, right? No, I have.
Yeah,
because
you
I mean, Sharon is just one of those people who's just, you know, super vivacious, all full of energy. And I'm like, oh my God, I just hope she can, because this happens to people who are like super excited. It's easy to get super excited and it's easy to get super depressed, right? Yeah. People like your husband, they're on an even keel.
Right.
They're just, I mean, if he won 10 million in lotto, he'd be happy. But all you would see him is go out for a nice dinner and probably he'd be back to, you know, that's just who he is as a person, right? Very even keeled, and it's easier for them to kind of keep the ups and downs. So I'm really, really excited for you and happy for you. And then what you've accomplished, I didn't realize that until like last week when we were talking. That's why I was like, you know, you got to come in and share this. So guys, again, the one thing we can draw from this is that this is a journey. And all of us, it doesn't matter how many properties I have or Ms. Sharon has, or if you're still starting out. Just think about it. It's a long marathon. And we may be a little bit farther along that course, but just because one person has more and another person has less, or you're still, as long as you're on the journey and you're making progress. That's what the whole message is today. So thank you so much. I think this has been phenomenal. So thanks, guys. Hope everybody enjoys, and always join us. Please share the podcast with your friends, and talk to you guys soon.